Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Fanspire. I'm Priyanka, and we are back with another episode. Today's episode is something different, something that we've not covered before, and that is the USWNT and the other teams participating in women's football at the Olympics. Of course, I'm super excited to do this honestly, and we've also been doing a lot about the Olympics. We have our episode for hockey, which is tomorrow, with a couple of ex-international players from India coming in to talk about it. So do tune in for that. And also, if you are aware that we are doing the Spotlight series where we talk to different women footballers from different states in India, and get their opinion about how is it going for them, how did they start playing football, and also a little bit about the league that we have here. So do check that out as well. And yes, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We say this a little too often, but yes, do subscribe and check us out on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're there. And now, without further ado, let's get right into the show. So today we have with us two brilliant people. They are both footballers and they are obviously football fans as well. So let me do a quick intro. So Mithila over here, she is based in Chennai. She also plays football. She's represented Tamil Nadu. She plays for Parakham FC in Bangalore in the Indian Women's League. And we are so glad to have you here because you are a big women's football fan. You watch the matches and try to follow them as much as possible. So great job doing that, and you're supporting the game again. Another fun fact about her, she also heads operations in a startup for women called Women in Sweat.
No,
If
it's
I'm
Sisters
right,
in Sweat. Sisters in
Sisters in
Sweat.
Sweat. Okay, yeah, it's called Sisters in Sweat. So do check them out. Do check out Mithila on Instagram and also that wonderful startup that they have over there. Welcome to the show, Mithila. So glad to have you here.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Great to be
Yeah.
here.
And moving all Delfiya. She's a avid follower for Mumbai. She's been playing since the time she was in the fifth standard, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong.
yeah.
And I think if you are in the Mumbai football scene, you've probably seen her playing multiple tournaments. She has won the best striker award in one of the Mumbai district tournaments as well. She currently plays with Joga Bonito in Mumbai. And yes, again, if you play a lot of private tournaments in Mumbai, you've definitely seen Delphia take away trophies one by one. So again, so glad to have you here, Delphia. Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you.
All right. So, when it was confirmed that the show is happening, I was super excited because I've been following uh, the women's football, US women's football for quite a while, and I'm so excited to talk about it today with you guys. So, let's get right into it. For all those who aren't aware, the Olympic quarterfinals happened today, just ended a couple of hours earlier. So, let's take a quick look at the results before we move on to talking about it. Let's have the results on screen. It was quite interesting because there were penalty shootouts in like two games. So first, as you can see, United versus Netherlands ended in a penalty shootout. Japan versus Sweden, with Sweden taking it away 3-1. Australia versus Great Britain. Again, another interesting match. That's scoreline, as you can see. And of course, we had Canada versus Brazil, again, which ended in penalties, and Canada ended up winning. So yeah, that's about it. And I know all three of us watched the USA versus Netherlands game. So first of all, let me tell you what a game. And I think that was a really good game. But forget the game. I just think that Alicia Nair was brilliant in
She
that
was.
game. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about it? Mithila, you can like go first.
I have so many thoughts about it. But I think, yeah, for starters, it was pretty equal a match. One thing is, it was like a revenge match for Netherlands from the 2019 World Cup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like compared to the performances of US through the group stages, I always felt like Netherlands had the upper hand in this. I felt like they were going to come in stronger and bring the attack to the US. But luckily after so long, I'm very glad that we saw US playing their game. It was so unlike them in especially in the match against Australia where they just parked the bus and just stood and played. Right? It was really not like them. They're always used to the high press, the
Yeah.
tenacity and the aggression they bring to the game. So I'm glad I saw. I mean, we saw in glimpses of all of those moments in this match. So I would actually like to argue that in terms of attack and in terms of taking the game, Netherlands did have the upper hand in quite a few places. I actually, I was constantly just texting a couple of my friends saying, Netherlands is going to win, they're going to win. This is going to score somehow. Give Mithila a little bit of space, some not even like half
Yeah,
a
not
foot of space, and she's going to score. But it went to penalties, and yeah, I have a few standout players, but I think let's go around and get to that.
Yeah. I think as you mentioned, Miraba, she is so phenomenal. You just give her like an inch of space and you'll watch her
and it's
turn
Yeah,
gone.
and
It's gone. Yeah.
literally.
yeah,
So, who were you supporting? Did you like have any team in mind, or you were just
yeah.
like a neutral?
So the thing is, I usually support the underdog no matter what in a lot
Mhm.
of other sports, but in women's football, I really want, especially in this tournament, I wanted the US to win mainly because they keep losing out on the Olympics the years that they win the World Cup. And they keep losing out in
Yeah.
the World Cup the years that they win the Olympics. So they've never done it twice, and I feel like they have the capacity and they have the kind of team and excellence to win both. So I actually really would like to see them take gold this time.
Definitely. Delphia, I know you were supporting US, so how was that match for you?
Yeah, I think it was incredible. It felt amazing watching them come back stronger, like from what it was in the first game that they played against Sweden. Like I was just telling you some time back, like that game was a total disaster. Like I was like looking at my phone constantly, like, oh my god, 1-0, okay, 2, oh my god, 6. So it was quite heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But today I think they gave it like all out, and like I could see that they were there for the win, like no matter what. Like from the start, like they were like there was high pressure, there was like everything, like yeah, it was pretty good. I think everybody gave it like more than 100%.
You mentioned high pressure, and I immediately thought of Lynn Williams because I was
Oh,
honestly surprised to see her in
Yes.
the
Oh my
starting five
God.
it
minutes.
was
Yes.
And I
she
was
had
like, what?
it was a
Okay, but
turn of
I love how
event.
she silenced the haters today. I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a beautiful assist, a beautiful goal by her. Like it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think I'm not someone who's very good on Twitter or anything. I don't really tweet much, but I go crazy on Instagram. So every time I get excited, I just put it up as a story. So I was so excited they started Lynn. I was texting all my friends, oh my God, they're starting Lynn finally. Because, I mean, putting her in the reserves initially itself was very disappointing because
Yeah.
she's proven herself again and again and again in the NWSL. So I think this is a brilliant, brilliant comeback and like a brilliant statement to all of our haters. Brilliant. Super.
Yeah, yeah. She has been getting quite some hate on that end, in comparison to all the other strikers that are there on the team, which are obviously excellent as well. But I personally feel she has that pace, which was utilized really, really well
Very
for you.
well.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And
Yeah, I think she took it though. Like she took the game to them. That's kind of what you want to see in the US because that's what they've been doing all of this while. I'm really glad they started her and instead of subbing her on because she started the momentum and she started
Yeah.
because she's really fast, like
And she was,
naturally itself,
I think she was
right?
also more calmer than other players when, like, as soon as she got the ball, she was not rushing. Like, she was
Yeah,
thinking and, like, she had that time and that space. So she was very calm on field, I felt. And that was needed to, like,
yeah,
maybe
true.
kind of reduce the momentum of the game.
definitely the team going. Yeah,
Yeah.
another one. Another thing when I think of that game is just the offside. Like,
Ah,
Dude,
how many
offside that was
offsides?
there.
three offside goals. That was like
Yeah,
the first time they scored, I didn't celebrate because I think that was pretty clear that she was offside.
so much, right?
But yeah.
Yeah.
Then Kristen Pressman, I think that was the second one, if I'm not wrong. And the Alex
Yeah.
Morgan one broke my heart. Like when she was offside, that broke my heart. I was like, no. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for
like
sure. For sure, for
You
sure.
Alex Moy, okay, we have a question with regards to
Okay.
USWNT. Are all their political learnings harming their performances on the pitch? Megan Rapinoe concentrating too much first and on the pitch, and is that affecting her game? Guys, we can,
So
all
awesome
give
question.
our inputs on this question. Anyone
Okay,
wants to
awesome
go?
question. I think no. I don't think that her political leanings is what is harming her game,
Yeah,
because I think that's just a justification to her not doing well. And when it comes to sports people, it could be anything. It could be just that she's having a bad day,
correct.
which I honestly think that she did. I think she and Alex Morgan had a very bad day today. They luckily used their experience and their composure for the penalties, which was
Yeah,
great. But if the penalties ended the other way, the kind of hate that they would be getting right now
true.
is unimaginable. So yeah, I'm actually really glad that that worked well for them. But in terms of the game itself, there were a lot of places where I did feel like Rapino was just giving the ball away. Her free kicks were so off. Her crosses, the decision making, it was very questionable. But I will any day disagree that it's her political leanings that's what's causing, her
Oh.
performances, the ups and downs of her performances on the pitch.
I think I agree with her because it's not always for a player to have like a constant or like very good performance throughout the year. There will be ups and downs, but that doesn't mean that she's just focusing off the field matters more. Maybe just today it wasn't her day, but I'm pretty sure in the semi-finals, she'll kill it for sure.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they have almost all these US national players. They have gained the kind of fan base, and they're using that platform to actually go ahead and do something, which I think we
Yeah,
Yeah.
should be applauding them for, and not comparing it with their performances, because obviously, as Mithila said, it's not absolutely related in any sense.
correct.
So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
I think the
And
Yeah.
matter of like equal pay started increasing more because they started bringing up those topics post the World Cup and all. So that is when like everybody started raising their voice, like, okay, women deserve equal pay. So I think that's incredible what these women are doing out there.
Yeah. For
yeah,
sure. But that being said, I do want to add that for this game especially, the kind of applause that she is getting for this particular game, I'm not talking about anything else, I'm talking about this particular game. I think I would give that kind of applause to Crystal Dunn and Juliet,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they practically
absolutely.
saved the team defensively. They threw their body at the ball most of the time.
true,
The tackles and everything. And at the end of the day, taking a penalty is nerves of steel, and that kind of credit and applause goes to her. And any day, like, I look up to Rapino so much, and so I would not say anything about that. But I think these two players are extremely underrated, especially Crystal Dunn. She's so underrated. When you should, like, when you go back and look at most of the US matches, you realize how much of a contribution she has to the team. And without her, there's a big hole in the wing back.
true.
And I love the fact that she's come from playing a different role, and she's absolutely changed it to
Yeah.
becoming a defender.
Different,
Yeah.
yeah,
It takes guts, it takes a lot of mental effort to, leave your role that you've been playing for so
position
many
and
years
then go
in that
back.
position.
Yeah.
And now you're just playing as a defender, but she's been killing it, as you said. I totally agree with that.
I sometimes do
Yeah.
feel that defenders are given less credit as compared to like
Yes. Thank you.
attackers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Finally,
I mean,
yes.
yeah, I mean, I've been there on both the sides of the pitch, like as an attacker and as a defender. But it doesn't matter how many times a defender saves like a goal, but one mistake and it's like, oh my god, because of you the team lost, and all the attacker has to do is stand and like just touch the ball in the goal, and the attackers like the star. So I would really agree with her again. Like defenders are given less credit, and yeah, I think they should be given more credit.
Okay, and we have another question. Is anything less than a gold
Oh
considered
man.
a failure? How do you read it?
Yeah, Delphi used to take this.
Uh, no, I think I have. I'm a huge USA fan. Like I would want them to take the gold. I think they will take the gold. I mean the gold. I don't see them like. I mean, honestly, it's going to break my heart if they do. But I have like full faith. I mean, look at their team. They have like all experienced players, the best players. So it's. I think with after today's win, they're all pumped up. They have to be super pumped up because yeah. So for the gold, definitely gold.
Yeah, I think the US have raised their standards with every game. that
Yeah,
something less than a goal is not a failure, it just feels like one for them.
true.
Right? Because everyone expects so much of them. They're a star-studded squad. Every one of them is awesome in any position that they play in. But you see them making small mistakes. You see them, lacking in the mindset sometimes during the game itself. And having that, or it could be sometimes even coaching decisions. Like today,
Hmm.
as like, okay, maybe it turned out well for them, great. But I do not agree that Lynn should have been substituted at all.
Yeah, I was surprised as well when she got
Yeah,
subs. I was like, no, it shouldn't have. Like, yeah, I would agree
yeah.
to that. Like, she was playing a very good game.
Yeah, I think she carried the momentum, so I would have kept her on. And I mean, yeah, I get that you probably needed Morgan, but she didn't really do much in the second half or even in the extra time. In terms of she did. So the thing is, a little bit of the attack that she took was, I mean, it was that's the thing. It didn't create so much of a dent.
Yeah,
It was She was offside,
yeah.
right? But yeah, I don't think they should have taken. At least, I mean, this is her first Olympics, and I get it. I get that you slowly earn your place in the team and all that. But I think she's very much earned it. And even if it's probably like her legs being tired, or because having had continuously pressed in the entire first half, maybe that would was a concern. But I think at the level that they're playing, that shouldn't be a reason for substituting someone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that's one decision I really don't agree with. But yeah, coming back to that question, right? I think it's really not a failure. It honestly makes you feel like one because
You just expect
they've
them.
yeah, they've set their expectations so high, and with good reason. It's not like they don't deserve it or
Yeah,
anything. So yeah, that's my answer to that.
I think to add to that, like, let's not keep what we think. I think they would be really disappointed if they did not get a gold medal because we know that they are aiming for it. You can see that kind of
Yeah,
dedication and that kind of champion mindset was something which I've noticed in all of them. And yes,
yeah.
also the RCB and Chelsea fans, shout out to you. Thank you for watching and yeah, a bit of
Oh, thank
praise from
you.
both of you here. Thanks so much for tuning in. So yeah, let's get back to talking about that game.
Yeah.
Another thing which again I mentioned at the start, Nair save. I
uh,
think she came in clutch today with them, and if
Yeah.
she wasn't in the goal, I think it would have ended differently for
yeah.
the US. Honestly,
I think that in game also they got a penalty. She's managed to save
Oh,
that one. That
brilliant.
was a very crucial one. And the minute the referee gave penalty, I was like, oh no, 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 my God, like no.
Done.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but then she saved it, and I was like, dude, they have to win this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
I
Nair has been getting a lot of criticism because of her Sweden match performance. When in
yeah,
fact it wasn't entirely her. I mean, you can't just blame the keeper and get away with it, right?
yeah.
true.
And I mean, as much as Ashlyn Harris and all have been saving a lot of penalties in the NWSL, and a lot of people are making cases for her to have been selected, I don't think she's as good in an on-field performance. Maybe penalties, yes, she's been on point these last few games, but
Hmm.
on-field Nair is better. It's just that she does have lapses of judgment sometimes, and I don't entirely think she's the best keeper so far. I still think that's Hedvig Lindahl. I still think the Swedish keeper
True,
is better, but I
definitely.
think because of Nair's mentality and the kind of, just the whole composure and everything that she showed in such a high profile game, all the way till the extra time, and then into penalties is something that, people should remember. Because anytime you talk about the US team, a lot of people seem to remember Hope Solo, right? She's so
Yeah,
famous, everyone knows Hope Solo. So I
everybody,
think, I
everybody.
really hope, people do remember Alicia Nair also.
Yeah. I think she was super calm and like her
Yeah,
judgments were really great
brilliant,
for
yeah.
the yeah, like the penalties. Amazing. Like I think it's very like you said, it's very hard to stay calm and composed at
Yeah,
that time because your whole team is like just dependent on you, right? At
yeah,
that time. So there's a lot of pressure from like everywhere, but
yeah,
she pulled it off super good.
for sure.
Yeah. A lot of praise obviously goes to the US national team, and there will be some fans praise. Right. Yeah, and while I said we are praising the US team a lot, but I kind of feel disappointed because the amount of talent in that Netherlands squad is also like mind blowing.
Uh,
You have like
Oh my.
Wiedema, Vanderdonk, you have Martins, and it's just sad to see them go out.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
any team losing in this would have been a
at this
heartbreak.
stage, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for
sad.
sure.
And talking about penalties, okay, before we go to that, in
Penalties
fairness,
from
oh, the
Netherlands.
penalties from Netherlands were also quite poor.
Yeah, I agree. Hi, Ulas. No, I agree though. Like, I think again we were talking about this. I think the mentality part of it. So I think even with Leka Martin's penalty miss against in during the gameplay, right?
Yeah,
That was I feel like so the ref actually paused a little longer to check for
for
whether it was
the
actually a penalty or not.
yeah
I really think that that could have played a role in her just to destabilize her mentality
probably.
because it happens usually, right? Like in sports like basketball, where they take timeouts when the other team is starting to score a lot, or if they want to just break momentum. I feel like a little bit of her momentum did get caught up in that pause. It's not an excuse, but I mean, it could have played a factor in her penalty. But yeah, of course, all credit to Naya, she did do well. Again, yeah, I mean the Netherlands penalties, boiling down to it, were I wouldn't say they were entirely completely poor. I mean,
Yeah.
they weren't as composed as the US were. I think that's what it comes down to. Because in penalties, everyone knows how to kick the ball, everyone knows how to shoot the ball, but it's
It's
about like how you do it and
yeah, I think yeah, dude. It's quite stressful. I think at least when we play and maybe somebody we get a penalty, the first thing is half of our teammates. I'm not taking the penalty, so everybody wants to put their hands up, right? So at that point, at such a level, to take a penalty, it would be really stressful. Like I don't see myself taking a penalty at like my God finals. I'll be like, no, thank you, hard pass.
So talking about penalties, okay, before we go there, what are your views about a career in football for women in
oh
India?
wow, deep
And where
questions.
are we lacking? I think we
Nice
can do like a
question,
separate
Faye.
show about this all together. So I think quickly we can just put in our views. Mithila, you can like just go first.
I mean, it's developing, right? Again, I don't think we're in a stage where we can call ourselves professional footballers yet.
Yeah.
Maybe the girls who play for India probably can because they play, in a lot more of a professional environment than the others do. I think even for all of us, we're barely semi-pro. I mean, amateur to
Amateurish,
semi-pro. Yeah,
yeah.
amateurish to semi-pro, right? It's not entirely I mean, I'm not really convinced. So even though I play Super Division or even if I do play the IWL, I don't think I'd call myself a professional footballer as much as I would love to because I think that's what I want to be. It's still hard. I think it's developing and probably next year's FIFA World Cup or the AFC
Yes.
Cup. Hopefully they could bring in some good system. I think once the system is established and once we have like a solid, a year-round structure to plan and prepare for as players, it makes sense, and that's when we grow, right? So yeah, that's what I believe.
That's nice.
Yeah. Delphia, your thoughts.
I think maybe because when what happened when we were kids were we weren't given that much of an opportunity to play. I mean, our parents would always be like, "Oh, you need to study because football won't take you anywhere." So our grassroots were only not that strong. So till we could get to some level, it was too late. So I would still suggest, I mean, I still think that it is developing and it is better from where we've come to like now. Like now you can see there are more tournaments happening and yeah, there are chances for like the younger generation to go ahead, which is great. And yeah, I think there have to be improvements done on like, medical level, like when there are tournaments and yeah, those are the things that concern players as well as parents because yeah, they are something that needs to be taken care of, but they are not taken care of because yeah, I think maybe because that's how it is done in at least Mumbai or India. I'm not really aware about the other states, but yeah, but we can do better. I feel.
Yeah. None of our IWL players meet the FIFA criteria. Okay. professional footballer. Yeah, just like Mithila
True.
mentioned, like we have the IWL, which is called the Indian Professional
Women.
League
Mm,
for Women. But honestly, I don't think it's doing enough and
yeah,
doing enough quickly to get
Yeah.
to some kind of level. And another thing that I think that needs to change and what are we lacking is the mindset. Like you can have the best coaches coming to train women here. You can have a lot of coaching centers, but if again the mindset is that girls can't play football, you shouldn't be going out for practice,
True.
putting in so much hours. If that's going to be the mindset, then I don't think we can actually move forward. So yeah, and
yeah,
quickly to let you all know, we also have done another series called the Fan Spy Spotlight, where we've spoken to a couple of players who have played this IWL league in a couple of regions in India and got their views on how they've started and how is it for them. So y'all can do check that out. And now let's move back to talking about the Olympics, women at the
yeah.
Olympics, women football. We were talking about penalties, and I think I just have to mention Brazil versus Canada because again, those
Dramatic.
penalties also were just like nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone else watch them? Because I
I did,
didn't.
I did. I mean, yeah, I just so that's the thing because the games were so back to back, right? It was 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
yeah, it was one after the other. So I started watching the Brazil Canada match because it was the first, but then the other matches started happening, and there was also other events from the Olympics to watch. So it was on and off, but I did catch the last 20, like the extra time for Brazil Canada, and then into the penalties. So I'm actually super glad for Canada because I actually did not expect Christine Sinclair out of all the people in the world to miss that
To
penalty.
miss the penalty exactly, and
Oh
that
my
was
It
god!
was
just like
shocking.
super.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's sort of like how even in the Netherlands penalties, medium are missed, right? Like, come on, you
Oh
you
my
you have
god.
a fantastic game and then you miss a penalty.
So
That's just how the
she
game
won't
is, right?
remember those two goals that she scored, but this one penalty that she missed, it'll be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that I think is a little bit of the sad part of how the game is perceived
Yeah.
because we do remember the winners. But I think in terms of games like these, there are some games which take it up till the T and people do end up remembering them and I think they're worth remembering also. I think this quarterfinals has been fantastic. I think Australia beating Great Britain. I really wish I'd watched that match because I was all for Lucy Bronze and Dan Kirby, and especially because I've been watching the FA Women's League, right? So
Women's,
I thought,
yeah.
okay, the English players are great, but then the Aussies show up, and then they just like wreck havoc everywhere. But I think this is sort of their statement to the world because they're hosting the World Cup in 23, right? So I think they're a team to watch out for.
Yeah, Sam Kerr just said not today, guys.
Yeah.
Delphi, as a Chelsea fan, any thoughts on Sam Kerr like coming in with those goals?
I think I'm super proud, like seeing a Chelsea player out there killing it. I mean, like yeah, like I've been whenever I see anything on TV and I'm like, Mama, that's a Chelsea player. Just say it. She's like, okay, like cool. But yeah, it's great watching her kill it, like for her national team as well as for her club teams as well. I mean, there are some players like they say they only perform for their clubs, but they don't perform for their national team. But I'm glad that she's not like maybe labeled as one of those players, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. So, before we move on to talking about the next round, that's the semifinals, I just have a small question for both of you all. So, how did you all initially start following women's football and watching matches? Because we know that it's not done a lot here in our country and in other places. So, just a small story for us if you all have one.
Yeah, that's a go for it.
I think the first ever female footballer who I just came across was Alex Morgan. Like I was just going through some YouTube videos because I wanted to get better at the way I play, and that's when her name popped up, and I was like, okay. And that time, I don't think so. Too many people were involved into women football, so that's when I came to know Alex Morgan. And before I didn't have a jersey number. Like I would be like, okay, give me any jersey number would do. But I started watching her, and then they would like call her baby horse and all of this, and I was like, okay, I want to be something like that. And ever since then, I changed my jersey number. It's like everything is like Alex Morgan, like my hairband has to be pink. I have to put the way she puts her kit, like she puts her left sock, then her right. So it's like I'm like I started idolizing her like to some next level. So we have a question, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Okay, so let's take this question and then we'll get back to Mithila. So, is this
Okay.
the last of Mata in a major tournament? Also, can we expect a repeat of the 2012 4-3 in the semis, maybe a Sinclair hat trick too? Yeah, about Martha, I think I did read a couple of tweets and stuff that said that this may be her last tournament and
tournament.
that we won't see her again because obviously she's a legend. Come on,
She's she
she literally dances with the ball. So, yeah,
Yeah.
your thoughts
Yeah.
on
but
that question?
I really
Yeah. I
don't
mean, like,
think, yeah,
go on. Go
this
on.
should be
Go on.
her
Go on.
last tournament. I don't think this should be because, like, yeah, she deserves to, like, play the finals and then probably hang her boots. I don't really think she should, like, stop her professional career for now. It'll be heartbreaking for sure.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I mean, I think it's that whole Carly Lloyd, Christine Sinclair, Marta, all of them in their 37 to 39 age,
Yeah,
right? So, I mean, like, I get the fact that, the door's closing on them, and it's pretty much it in terms of country. Clubs, I think they will play for a little longer. I really hope I can see Marta in the 23 World Cup. I really hope. I'm sure. I have a feeling. I mean, Carly Lloyd's definitely retiring after this
yeah.
tournament. But I mean, yeah, let's just hope how it. I'm just
Yeah.
hoping for the best because they're legends,
I
and
think,
I really don't want to see them go.
yeah, I think just let them play, and when they have to retire, they'll retire. Just no, like you shouldn't be asking when are they going to. So yeah. Okay, so coming back to the little story about how did you actually start following the teams, Mithila, you can go.
So when I was in school, I think I had a very similar journey in terms of YouTube. So I logged into YouTube a lot just to learn juggling, just to learn tricks because it was so cool at that point, right? And in school, all the
Yeah.
guys were doing it, so we were like, okay, let's do it too. But the first player that I ever got introduced to was Mia Hamm.
Ah,
That was actually after Bend It Like Beckham because that was one of the first football movies that I'd seen. So it went
true.
like Beckham, and I started, I found out, okay, oh my God, Mia Hamm. And Mia Hamm was just so famous around that point. But yeah, after Mia Hamm, it was Alex Morgan. She was a poster girl. It was Alex Morgan, Hope Solo. Everywhere. I mean,
True.
it's probably because they're very attractive too. But I'm very sure that's probably like initially why it boomed. Because no one was really talking about women's football in terms of like an analytical way. No one was breaking down their games. Nobody was doing that stuff. Everyone was just like, oh, okay, she did this. She scored a hat trick. They just remembered those standout players. That's pretty much it, right? But yeah, YouTube videos mainly. Um, but after that, I think through YouTube itself, I saw a few US matches. US is the first country that I started following, which is why they would still have a special place in my heart because sort of broke a lot of stereotypes and a lot of
True.
things about women playing at that higher level. And eventually, it was in Europe, right? Even right now, the European League is picking up now, and it's great. It's great that there's a lot of investment and a lot of Americans also coming here and playing. But I think the level and the kind of system that they have is something that the whole world can sort of take notes from. It's excellent. Every girl has some kind of background in soccer. Every girl has most of them at least. It's either soccer, basketball, but it's always some sport, and that's what's really inspiring for me. So that's initially how I started watching, and yeah, eventually after the US games, Carly Lloyd, the 2011 World Cup
Yeah.
lost to Japan, and then after that they
Uh,
won the World Cup in 2015. That journey was amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's pretty much that was my journey with it. Right now, I mean, I'm glad I'm at the place I am right now because I watch the Bundesliga, the FA Women's League, UWCL is great. Barcelona Chelsea was awesome. I mean, like you guys, it was really heartbreaking, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much like been my football watching journey.
I think mine is also pretty similar. Actually, it started with Pinterest. I saw a lot of
Oh,
Alex Morgan, the
that
soccer
Yeah,
girl
I think
posts.
the root is Alex Morgan.
Yeah, I thought it was start with Alex Morgan, and then I actually discovered Tobin Heath because of the same post, and
Oh yeah,
I
you're
Oh,
was
right. You're right.
she.
absolutely in love with Tobin Heath. She's like my favorite player. I think everyone in my family heard me talk about Tobin Heath so much, even my friends. So it just started from there, and I never even knew that women actually play professionally the entire year round, and this was like an insight. I have literally gone and watched everything on their channel after that, after I discovered them, and like as you said, another like very inspirational, their stories and learning from them. So it was kind of similar, and then again watching the NWSL after that and the teams there. So definitely there. And so let's move on now to talking a little bit about the upcoming semis, and let's take a look at the teams we can on screen. Yeah, as you can see, there's United States, Canada, Australia versus Sweden.
Yep.
Those are going to be the semi-finals. Honestly, United versus Canada is like ultimate rivalry because we know those two countries are like super competitive, and they're
Yeah.
both good, really good as football, produce some really good talents as
Yeah.
well. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's like Australia, New Zealand, I think. They're always neighbors, but then like they're constantly,
Gonna
warring. But
battle.
yeah, proper battle. I think now that that in both sides there are players who are going to be retiring. There's a lot of pressure on both the teams. There's a lot of
True.
expectations. So I mean, yeah, I mean, as much as like I said in the beginning itself, as much as I'd like to see US take it, it's still too soon to say because there's a lot to play. The semifinals itself is going to be a lot.
True.
What are you all expecting in terms of the match? Let's
Predictions?
see it tactically. We'll come to predictions. Let's talk about probably like the squad and tactics you think that we'll be seeing there.
I hope he still uses Lynn. I hope he gives her a little more playing time. Probably, I mean, Tobin was pretty effective, but I think in terms of playing time, it still depends on how the game would go. I would love to see Christy Mewes and Katrina Macario play. I really want
Yeah.
Christy Mewes to play. She's really earned her spot on the team, and I think there should be a window where they can bring her in. But yeah, I think apart from the others, it's just these guys. I'm very surprised that Tierna Davidson was left out of the squad in today's game, but
Yeah,
I
they
think she was injured. I'm not sure. I have to read up on that. But yeah, she didn't even make it to the 18 roster. She was in the stands.
reserves, I think.
Yeah, she's in the reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much. I'm not gonna like expect too much because I usually jinx this, so I'm just not gonna do anything. Watch it as it
Yes.
is.
I think this match is going to be super important for the midfield and the forwards to actually show up. I personally want to see Kristen Press because I think she's brilliant, like even tactically and her runs and the kind of ball she puts in. I want to see some goals from her. And I think if they slip up, it would be a little bit in the defense, and they cannot absolutely afford to do that if the US is wanting to win against Canada. And in terms of Canada, I think I really want to see Christine Sinclair score to take away some of that memories of the missed penalty. That's what I'm hoping for, honestly.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that they like he puts on Cardi Lord today. I think today she did put in a
Brilliant.
lot of she was brilliant today. Like
Yeah.
there was just one through ball that she put in for I think Williams only that was really great.
Yeah.
It was really great. I think. Like these two players, I do not want him to like take them off, but
Yeah.
it all really depends on what is in the. We cannot like really predict or think about what the coach is thinking because yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be damn surprising what he might come up with his first 11.
Yeah. I
But yeah,
think so. I still think that Sweden is the strongest team this season, this tournament. But when it comes to knockout games, it's all mentality and anything can happen, right? So I wouldn't discount Canada. I wouldn't even discount Australia to potentially beat Sweden for all you know. Like that would be a milestone. But as much as I feel like a small thing in me says that could go to penalties because I think both of them, Australia and Sweden, have a really good attack. Sweden
yeah,
has a pretty good defense, But I still feel like
They
both
have
the
a stronger
attackers,
attacker.
yeah. So I think that could still be a possibility, and we could be looking at another penalty. With respect to the US, I think that's what I think it's the whole expectations thing. They're a great team, and the entire world knows this, right? Which is why
Yeah.
most of the people want them to lose. They're like, okay, these guys are done. I mean, how much will they win?
True, true,
You know?
true, true, true.
So,
Okay, I think we're back with another similar kind of question. Are USA women justified in asking for pay parity with their male counterparts?
what a complex question.
I think a lot of people are so concerned about this and not about the actual game.
Yeah, that's why you want to take
That's
this?
no. Go ahead, Midali.
No, I mean, they. So the thing is, it's not about the fact that they are asking for equal pay. They're saying equal work is equal pay. They're not honestly they're not dumb. They know that the economics in both women's football and men's football is very different. But what they are trying to do is, if they ask for it now, they know that at least in the future generations there will
True.
be a certain gap that's bridged. That's what they're trying to do. And in terms of the lawsuit, also, a lot of the stuff that they are asking for is justified. But the thing is, it's again something that is originating all the way from FIFA, right? If you see the prize money difference for women's
Yeah.
football and men's football, it's
True. It's
vast. I'm not sure of the exact number, but the men's football is somewhere around the 300 million range, if I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Women's football is barely anything. I think there was an argument on why it's not even at least 100 million. I mean, so I think there's of course economics that goes behind this. There is still like fan engagement, the viewership, and everything that goes behind the entire, how much you pay a winning team, how much you pay in terms of the tournament, in terms of sponsorship, etc. But I'm glad that they started the conversation now. So I think yeah, they are fair in asking for it now because they are doing it very well, informed that it's not going to happen to them, but it's going to
I
happen
would
sometime
happen
in the
to get
future.
yeah. But I think this is not the case only with women in like who play football, but also like the basketball. Like I think just recently I posted something where there was an NBA player who was comparing like the salary of like LeBron James and players like those to like a
Oh yeah.
normal the other women NBA player, and there's a huge gap. Like whether it's play maybe winning the prize money or something like that. So it's not only just in football that women are not getting equal pay. It's also other sports. If I'm like, I'm definitely not wrong over here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was even the WNBA did raise concerns.
Yeah, they
And
did.
yeah, I remember having this conversation with a couple of, the football fans who support the other leagues, the men's leagues and stuff. And what
Yeah,
I realized is a lot of them are very ill informed of everything. They've just read some headlines saying that, okay, women want equal pay, and they've not even really gone up and read anything about it. So, one thing that I could say to a lot of people who are questioning this is go up, read, just get a little knowledge about it, and then
true.
maybe you can put in your opinion. That's definitely something that can be done.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah,
like
also like
the
yeah,
yeah,
go
yeah.
on.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, so I was going to say that the history of men's sports is a lot deeper than the history of women's sports,
True.
and because the women's World Cup itself, I think 1980, late 80s or like early 90s, 1990, I think,
Yeah.
and that's much much later compared to the men's World Cup, right? Which was started in the early 1900s, and we're talking about such a vast difference. So of course there's difference. We get it. We get the fact that there is a whole lot of economic factors to consider. But we're not just talking about money. We're talking about an entire mindset shift in
Hmm.
treating the women similarly, in about getting more viewership to actually come in. Because
I
the
was
games are so exciting. You cannot tell me that today's games are not exciting. That is ridiculous.
100% agree
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
I
So
was
I
just
mean,
gonna
yeah,
say that only. Yeah. Sorry, Mitali. Continue. Continue.
yeah, I think that's what I mean. Even in terms of the UWCL, right, the Champions League, it's still the same thing. It's still again building the whole club rivalry. The reason men's football, especially Premier League and Champions League, is so sought after and everyone watches it is because of the rivalries that are created. It's because everyone
True.
loves to see their club. Everyone loves that attachment, and that is only going to carry over to women's football when the same clubs that have those rivalries build women's teams, which is why Chelsea is great that way. Chelsea, Bayern, you know,
United
like
for that fact.
United building in right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I mean, like they are. I mean, it is still a little gray area because like Casey Stoney left, and I'm pretty upset about that. But I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, some lots
Hi.
of love for support.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're headed in the right direction. It's great. We're discussing salaries. I think having an open transfer market itself is awesome because you get to see how much the players are making, which is always hushed up. And I think it's actually very even in Indian women's football also. Whenever it's IWL or anything, right? No one knows if the player's getting paid, what the club's doing for them.
True.
Such gray area. It's like it's
True.
extremely
True.
hushed up.
True.
And because of that, especially because it's not an open transfer market, you don't know who's going to play where. And now that it's starting up, and I think there was a recent thing about Football Manager opening up its doors to women's football also. So having fantasy games and all of that,
Yeah.
it totally opens up the sport, and it more girls are interested. You can't tell me that girls are not interested. Come on, we're way past all of that. It's just about building on this excitement, building on the sport, and just taking it forward.
Yeah. I really think that they need to start broadcasting more of women games on TVs. Like, I mean, every
Yeah.
time we have to I remember watching the Women's Super League, like going through their site, and it's so disappointing that the guys their games are like like every time, even though it's not live, there's still highlights going on behind or something or the other. I mean, it's high time that they do that for women as well. Like I think I had to struggle to like sometimes even watch the Olympics games and all. Like some of them were not
Mm.
available on the app as well. So it's quite disappointing seeing that they don't get enough live coverage as compared to men. Like even though it's like maybe League One games also come on TV for like men, but for like women, there's no idea as to what's happening until unless you particularly follow that team on Instagram or like have them on like some foot mob or apps like those. It's
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
disappointing.
I think for
Yeah.
League
Even
One,
in
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, even in like IW, so in the ISL, right, they have all of these post-match, interviews. They have discussions.
True.
I think the day that IWL reaches that stage, that's when we're taking a great step ahead
Yeah.
because people are talking about how you play. That means there are eyeballs on you, and that means you will naturally get better. That means there'll naturally be more girls wanting to be in that spotlight, right? And it just pushes the game forward. Uh, so I mean, I'm glad that there's more content right now. It's a lot more than how we had it when we were much younger, when it was just YouTube. Like I remember, there was this point where it was just freestylers on YouTube, and it was just
Uh,
like back to back videos on freestylers, and that was the content that was going around at that time, right? Of course, there were match discussions and all, and a lot of people who've been following the Premier League, the men's side of the Premier League for a long time know about this. But when it comes to women's sport, the conversation around it was very less. The analysis around it was very less. So
yeah.
now that we are having a lot of people interested in it and people want to know how they play and they demand more of the game, it's just pushing the game forward.
And I really think they deserve equal pay because women also put in that much effort on field as compared to men. Not that they train a little less or they put in less efforts. They have other things to do. Like I mean Alex Morgan, Martha, they all mothers. And
Hmm.
still they are after it's not come on. It's I think everybody knows out there how difficult it is after getting a child to get back into that physique, get back into shape. It's difficult, but they have still managed to do it and it's incredible. So, I mean, the efforts count, the way they are training, their diet, everything. I think women deserve equal pay, man.
Yeah. I actually want to like shout out to the NWSL because I think I've never had a major issue watching their games. Whether it was before a couple of years ago on live on their website, now it's on
Hmm.
Twitch. I think it's been pretty accessible compared to the other leagues and
Yeah.
the other games. And if
Yeah.
we were talking about Indian Women's League and compared to the ISL, I don't think the IWL even has an official Instagram page.
Oh
I
my
think,
God, yeah.
Have given
I
thought about that.
think
I,
they
do
do. I'm
we?
not quite sure. Do you have it? I know, I think they do. And
They do.
I think,
Let's
let's
check.
just, I'm not sure.
Let's check. Yeah.
I don't think they do because I don't think
Ah,
IWL exclusively has a page. They don't.
no.
A lot of pages like Women's Footy in shout out to Women's
Yep,
Footy
yep,
in
yep.
Yeah, shout
shout
out to
out
them.
to
They've been really great in helping. promote a lot of money because
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's really
pages.
sad that people don't know, when IWL starts, like people don't even know like what's pre-qualifiers, qualifiers, and it's
Yeah.
so disappointing to see like your players like Bala Devi and all who've been playing over there. Like people, I think now Bala Devi's name is coming up because she's gone played for Rangers and
Hmm.
things like that. Other people back then didn't know who were players like Bala Devi, Ratan, and all these Aditi Chauhan, all these good, amazing players. I think now since they've been like posting a little here and there about them, and a lot that have they've been doing a lot of like off field work, like Aditi Chauhan having her own thing. Like it's damn
Academy.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
so I think that's great. But I think India should
Yeah.
do a little more and focus a little more
Definitely.
towards
A
women.
lot more.
A
Yeah, for
lot
sure.
more, not a little, but a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. In terms of promoting social media, it's free. So shout out to the IWR to like get an Instagram. So obviously, I think we can discuss a lot more about this, and but let's go into predicting our scores and our winners for
Do
the
we
upcoming
have to? I'm
semifinals.
gonna jinx this.
I know a lot of people don't like it, but let's just do it for fun, and then we can probably end the show. So
Uh, see.
first up, let's go United States versus Canada. Mithila, what's your prediction?
Ah, stop! I'm gonna jinx it. I'm gonna jinx it so bad.
It's okay, just say
Okay.
it. Go for it.
2-0 US wins.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going with that.
Okay,
2-0 US wins.
Delphia first.
Definitely US, and they might think I'm thinking maybe 3-1. Yep,
Okay.
Okay,
it would be 3-1.
yeah, that's fair enough.
What
I'll
about
go
you?
for a 2-1 prediction with USA winning 2-1.
2-1. Okay.
Okay, and
2-1.
next game, Australia versus Sweden.
Oh my God. This is too hard. But I have less emotional attachment to this game than the previous one. I mean, for sure, shout out, like, I love the Swedish players. But I think it's gonna be a 3-2 win to the Swedish squad. Yeah, 3-2. I'm going with that. It's gonna be high
Cool.
scoring, attacking game.
Yeah, I think it will be a 2-0 win for Sweden. And
Okay.
that's
I think it'd be 3-0 Sweden.
Oh,
Maybe.
whoa.
I'm a little too confident because I mean they're really great and they've
Yeah, they're
been
really good.
performing. I mean, and they've been scoring also. Not today, but yeah, but I think 3-0. I would go for 3-0.
I think all of us are just hoping for a USA versus Sweden final
That's right,
match.
Ulas. It's a Magda show. I love Magdalena Eriksson. I think she's a fantastic defender. I
Definitely,
mean,
definitely.
yeah, oh yeah, Chelsea stan for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd love to go on talking a little more about a lot more, in fact, about this. But do you all have any final thoughts? As we move towards the end of
I
this.
actually do. I actually do have this interesting thing. So, you know how everyone's been talking about Lucy Bronze and how she did win the best player of the world, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the current fullbacks, I think that in contention are Hannah Glass, also because she plays for Bayern and I have an insane emotional attachment to her. So yeah, Hannah Glass and Crystal Dunn. I think Crystal Dunn she's just so underrated. I think that even if you go through like the US Instagram pages, right? Everyone's obviously talking about the penalties, which is great. Like, I mean, it takes a lot of stuff to, go through the penalties, but I think that there needs to be a separate shout out for Crystal Dunn. There needs to be a separate like temple worshipping her
I
and the
think there
kind
needs
of
to be a
stuff that
separate thing for defenders only. Like, I mean,
no,
I
yeah,
really
true.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
For sure. Yeah, she and Julia, for sure. I think even in the first match against Sweden, they struggled so much without that
Yeah.
number six. The number six position's always been really difficult for them for US, right? Because if you play Lindsay Horan, Sam Ewers, and Rose Lavelle at the same time, all three of them have an extremely attacking mindset.
So
So
they,
for them to fall back and do the dirty
yeah,
work is a
becomes
little hard.
very difficult. True, 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 true.
Yeah, so I think Juliet is a pivot, Crystal Dunn, and player to watch out for Hannah Glass. Sweden, let's go.
Thanks so much for that. And Delphia, any final thoughts?
No, I don't. I just hope like I'm gonna just root for USA. That's all, and Yeah, probably if I'm disappointed, you can like just see me sitting in one corner and just yeah. But no,
Yeah,
for sure, I think
if I'm disappointed, you'd know. You'd know on my Instagram stories that I'm
yeah, true. I'll be
disappointed.
like, okay. I think every time they post something, repost, repost, repost. I think I've gone to an extent of messaging Alex Morgan also, but yeah.
Have you ever gotten a reply? Like just
No,
like a
I
like
didn't. I mean,
that
you
she liked your
think?
message.
No, I think I would have framed that up and I would have kept it in my room. I would have worshipped it like, oh my god. But sadly, that didn't happen. But yeah, I hope it does.
Can we
Priyanka,
get a clip of this and put it up on Twitter or something and get this
Oh
circulating? So
my
thanks,
there's
god.
a
Priyanka.
shout
Thanks
out
for
from
having me
Alex
on this
Morgan.
interview. Thank you for having. You'll actually see like me, like those crazy stalker DMs, like oh you're trying to, yeah, it'll be like messages after messages. So hard pass. People who
Yes,
are going
we're
to ask me
obsessed.
for a screenshot, I am not going to send it to y'all. Just saying.
Yeah, someone saying Alex Morgan. I think all of
Yeah,
us are
Faye.
fans of the women's soccer teams and football teams, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I hope we can do something like this again after the semi-finals because I believe this was really fun and really
Same.
great to come
True.
on and talk about it, create some content about it. So yeah, any other women's football fans do DM us if you all want to join, and even if you all support any other clubs, we do like Premier League, we did the Euros. I hope we can do a lot more women's football content because I believe that's needed.
Yep.
So yeah, and thank you so much to everyone who tuned in, who put in the comments, who watched this. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you for all your support, and do keep sharing, do subscribe to the channel, and of course, a big thank you to Mithila and Delfiya. So readily all agreed, and you all were like, yes, yes, I know. We'll be here to talk
Thanks so
about it.
much.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
Priyanka,
you.
for
for
having
having
us.
us. Thank you.
Thanks for
It
having
was
us.
an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And of
All
course,
right.
thank you to the Fanspire team who works a lot to get all this out. And that's it for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow with the hockey episode. So do check it out. It's been amazing. I've had a lot of fun because I've been super excited for this. But thank you everyone for tuning in and good night.